Welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig, right here in Starshop Studio in Times Square. And today we are telling you about a person you are definitely going to want to know about. Paul Szyarto is a CEO. He's an author. His life story is just incredible, and he is advising people on how to be successful entrepreneurs. We're going to tell you all about the course that he's offering, his background, where you can find him, and I'm just so thrilled to meet
Well,
you.
I'm glad to be here. So
You are charming, and I have to say, your life story is very difficult. I mean,
just a
you're
little bit,
honest
yes.
about it,
Yeah.
and we'll get into Paul's life story in a moment. But to look at you, you have such a friendly personality. One would think your life was easy, that perhaps you came from a wealthy background, that just life is very good to you. Do people tell you that?
They actually do, yes. So
Yes.
it's I try to hide the demons well.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, there's no need in bringing it out into the world. So
It's really interesting to me as a therapist too, because sometimes when a person has a difficult background, it can really break them.
yeah,
And certainly as parents, when we parent our children, we want to make their lives as easy as possible. Let's go back to your background so
yeah,
people
sure,
know what I'm talking about
yeah.
here. You grew up in Irvington. Your father was an alcoholic. At one point, he almost tried to kill your mother.
Correct, yes.
You had to become an entrepreneur early on. You were bartering toys,
I was, yes.
selling
Yeah.
pencils,
Yeah, yeah.
cards.
Yeah.
You really had to think in a different kind of way in order to bring money in.
Yeah.
How did you even come up with all of that? So resourceful.
I mean, I think I would call it more like instinctual entrepreneurship,
Uh-huh.
to where you know, as a kid, I mean, you don't know what's going on. I mean, you see certain things happening around you. You see the the violence and the certain levels of abuse, and as a kid, you think it's normal,
Yeah.
in a sense, and you just see to where there were certain times to where my mom would be really struggling with from a financial standpoint. We would go to school with minimal clothing, and there were nights where we were hungry, we didn't have food, sometimes we didn't even have water. So
Wow.
as a young kid, I mean, you sit back and you say, hey, I see that more or less money makes the world go round.
Yeah.
How do I get this thing, this stuff to essentially buy things, or at least have what those other children have, and I'd say my first situation to where there was something that I wanted. It was GI Joe toys. And I remember sitting there watching these other children play with them, and I said to myself, how can I get these? And I knew my mom didn't have the money, so I just watched. I would observe these children, how they interacted with their toys, and the different needs and wants based actions that they went through. And I remember this one kid who had just so many of them, and he was also interested in these like paper throwing stars. And I remember befriending this boy who made them. I figured out how to make them. Next thing you know, I'm making bags of these Chinese throwing stars, and I was bartering with these kids with GI Joe. So next thing you know, I had a whole collection, and I went from the kid in the corner to one of the kids playing with the mainstream kids.
So you're really self-taught, because as you're telling
100%
your
self-taught.
story,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, and this is probably why I'm not an entrepreneur in the kind of business you're in, I might have been bitter. I might have gotten
Yeah.
angry. I might have just taken a toy.
Yeah.
I don't like to admit that. I mean, I wasn't in that situation, but you had some natural instincts where your intellect kicked in.
I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just I agree. You could either sit there and pout,
Right?
or go into the corner, or
Yeah.
be angry
Or be
and
bitter
take
like
it.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bitter,
I
or
would've been, yeah.
But for some reason, somehow, I saw an opportunity to say I took advantage of a gap. This
Yeah.
this boy wanted something, and I was able to fulfill his want.
Did you do well in school at that time? Were you like a straight A student?
You know something? It was interesting. So in school, I was actually really good in school. I mean, it was, the home life was rough, and then school was more or less you were able to get out of the danger zone. So I think I did well in school, less because I applied myself, more because I had a really good memory.
Was it a good escape for you?
Yeah, it was a really good escape. You were with, friends, and you didn't have to think about what was happening at home, and you really were able to focus. So.
Are you the oldest?
I'm not. I'm the middle guy. So
you're the middle
yeah, I have
child.
an older brother and a younger brother.
Oh, okay.
So,
Did your mother rely on you to take care of her in any way? Do you think you responded to your mom's wish to be taken care of?
I don't know. It was weird. Like my mom she would work 2, sometimes 3 jobs, and we would. I was the brother that would go and clean the bathroom. My younger brother would. He was more like, wanting toys, and honestly, I don't remember what my older brother did much. So,
and how did your brothers turn out? Did they turn out as well as you?
So it's interesting. We all have our thing. We all, I guess, have our own addictions. So growing up around addiction, my father was an alcoholic. Plus, he was into trafficking and using drugs in some ways. So my older brother is like he's addicted to health. He's like a health maniac. This kid will work out at 2, 3 in the morning.
Wow.
And my younger brother, unfortunately, went down the path of with the drugs. And he got into the whole heroin thing. And for me, it was my out is business. So I don't know why I have to do something. I mean, I could sit there at 2 in the morning and I have to do something. Business and education.
So you went into the military.
Yes.
You were in the Navy.
I was.
You went to Oxford, Wharton. Did I leave anything out? Brandeis. Was there any other schools? There were a lot of
I went to
Northeastern,
University of Maryland. So
you went to University of Maryland too?
Yeah,
That's where my son went. Actually, I was mentioning to my son this weekend because he's interested in business, and I was like, you should really read this man's story. Maybe he's somebody that you can internship for, because you really want your kids to learn via internship early on.
Yeah, learn on the job. Learn from those that have gone through it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you are one of those people who is a wonderful teacher and educator. What do you find people want to learn the most from you?
So, I mean, I would say today, everyone wants to know how to make money the easy way.
Yeah.
It's like,
me too.
How do we get there? I want to get there tomorrow.
Way, please do tell me.
Well,
I'm always looking for it.
Here are the facts.
I can tell you a good way to spend a lot of money. Are you interested in that? Okay.
I mean, well, we got to learn to make it first,
Right.
And then we can learn to spend it even quicker. So, so the thing is, there is no easy way. It's really. Can I say busting your?
Yeah.
It's really about busting your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, focusing on certain levels of goals. Setting up goals, planning, and really delivering. I mean, too many people get distracted with failure, and too many entrepreneurs today, or the millennial generation. Let's go there to where they feel like they're entitled.
Yeah.
I don't have to work this hard, but the fact is, you have to bust your ass. 24 hours a day. You need to plan every minute. You need to figure out how to monetize every activity and be productive in any way. You
mentioned something, and then we'll get to monetizing, because I think that's really fascinating. You say, listen, being passionate is not enough.
It's not. It's really not.
To be successful. Yeah. So what does one need in addition to passion in order to be financially successful?
Yeah. So here's my thing. I got this big hang up on these hack mentors that are on social media, to where they get on and they try to sell you this 65 steps something, or hey, let's get into real estate and do this. The fact is, that's not real. I mean, it's one in 1,000 people get to go through those opportunities, and they realize a benefit from them. And the fact is, I lost my frame of thought.
Oh, well, we were talking about just the difference between passion and actually making money.
So that's what I meant is when it comes to passion, I mean, you could have a passion for real estate. You could have a passion for, developing apps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The fact is, you need to understand where it's going. You need to understand, what is the plan? What's the financial plan? I mean, a passion is nothing without understanding how to monetize that passion. If you like
can
to,
any area be monetized?
any
Because
area can be
any
monetized,
area.
anything,
Okay.
and you got to think, there's always going to be a need and a want. If you focus on those two paths to where, needs, everyone has a need. If you could monetize something people need, it's going to be easier to sell. If you can figure out what people want, there's going to be fluctuations on when you can sell it, based on economical conditions and so on. But the thing is, you could probably sell it for greater amounts to people that have money. They want it. They're going to splurge. So.
And when you teach these young kids, do you find that frustration can interfere with ultimate success? Because you have these great philosophies that I wrote down because I just thought that they were really important. So some of the things that Paul discusses is anyone can make a difference in their lives and the lives of others, no matter what adversities they've been dealt. I believe that as well. And you talk about think big, deliver bigger.
Yep.
And action is the key to success. But sometimes life can be really difficult. And even if one believes in themselves, after experiencing so many frustrations, it can be challenging.
See, you have to think about this. frustrations or let's call them failures.
Okay.
So where, a failure is
a
failure is a stepping block towards something bigger, and you got to think, if you set up a goal to, let's say you're trying to build a business, selling widgets, and let's say you get to the point where you don't quite, sell enough widgets and, you have to close the business down.
Okay.
The fact is you learned something. You learned, taxation, you learned probably state regulation, you learned, how to, manufacture the widgets, how to set up sales channels. So guess what? That's a building block. You take that to the next level and you apply it to the next business idea. It's not, a failure is a step towards success. It's not, you shouldn't get frustrated because you didn't achieve the goal. So, I was just going to say, so next time, just set up goals that are more realistic, more attainable. So
you have a conference coming up, and we are going to put a link up for Paul's website so you can find out more about this conference. And it's a conference for CEOs. So, right? Is it CEOs
correct?
And
Yes.
business people,
yes.
Correct?
Correct.
Sometimes the CEO is a very lonely job, and I've heard that from
It
CEOs.
could be a very lonely job. So.
Can you tell the difference between somebody who's got that inner resilience and can be very successful versus somebody who might not be?
See, the fact is, we're all made of the same thing. We can all drive the same car. We can all push as hard as we want. And the fact is, I never underestimate people from a first impression. You can't really tell, at that initial, setting. It's going to come down to, working with that person, seeing where their goals are, seeing how they accomplish goals, because they may not have this, goal to be the CEO, but they may be great at delivering tasks, and in time, they could build into a great manager or a great leader because they understand how to just be organized and to deliver,
Do you think your tough background made you tougher and better able to handle the frustrations of life?
Yes.
And so I know that you're a parent, and
Yes.
I would imagine it's not a big leap that you don't parent the way you were parented.
I do not parent the way I was parented.
So do you ever worry, like, oh my gosh, is my parenting style going to interfere with my child being tough? I sometimes worry about that.
I think I'm tougher in business than I am at home.
Yeah,
I think I probably, my wife will yell at me to where I'm not tough enough at times, especially with my son. So
because we tend to do the opposite.
I think it's
I just wonder about that sometimes, because sometimes when you are raised, and there's a new book that's come out about Tiger Woods and how tough his father was on him, and how that helped to kind of build a certain kind of inner resiliency. But I still, as a therapist, know the importance of building a foundation of self-esteem and the value in that. I just was curious your thoughts.
Yeah, growing up, there was no building of self-esteem.
Right.
There was always
And look how well you turned out.
I honestly don't know how. So my wife and I sit back and we say, how did it happen? And
are you religious? Did you have a sense of?
I'm not so religious.
Okay.
My sense of purpose was surviving, and I think we all have the will to survive and the ability to survive. And I think if you just channel it and apply it to the right things in life, anyone could really be successful.
It's a matter of channeling all of your energies into the right place.
Now, it really is.
When someone signs up for your conference, I would like to sign up. Can I sign up? Even
Absolutely.
If I'm not a CEO?
Yeah.
I'll be something else. I'll give myself another title. What will they walk away with? What will they get from you that they might not get from other conferences?
So one of the things we're trying to do is, I think I told you that I'm into martial arts heavily. I train in something called Krav Maga, and I'm ex-military, so I have this combative mindset. And you got to think, growing up in it was like a battle zone, a war zone every day. So you always see things in a different light. You're always trying to be prepared. You're always trying to essentially protect your ass. And prepare, be proactive in what's about to happen. And I'd say a lot of CEOs can essentially add to their the success of their business and their own personal lives by kind of integrating some of those combative mindsets to where you got to think when a soldier goes into a war zone. I mean, you're trained to start seeing your environment differently. You're trained to act in a certain way. You're trained to attack instead of waiting for the attack. You're prepared with all the equipment on you to handle anything and anything in the battlefield. And I think a lot of executives today, they are lacking preparation. They go in and they think, I could handle this. I could be reactive instead of creating a plan and having the proper equipment and the proper mindset.
So do you think the proper mindset is knowing people are out to get you, people are out to destroy you?
Oh my God, this world is filled with, right? It's like everywhere I think, one of my executives just tried to screw me, like 6 months ago. And it's just, every day someone wants what you have. Every day someone is going to be jealous and they want to put you down and they want to, it's like the world wants to see you crumble before they want to see you succeed.
Yes,
it's actually sick. Yeah.
We human beings are very aggressive.
Yeah.
And you talk about how important it is not to be a one-man band, which I also. So all of your philosophies, I completely agree with and subscribe to, and that you need a team.
You need a team.
A group.
Yeah.
And there have been other successful entrepreneurs who I've had on, and they'll say, I didn't do it alone.
Yeah.
I had the right people in place.
It's never about being alone. It's about identifying see, when you work with a team, I mean, like you said before, do you see like a CEO in people? And it's not about seeing a CEO. It's about seeing, what attributes and characteristics does this person have that you can plug into a team setting to where you could actually make the team successful. And that's how I like to build the teams.
Do you think women CEOs think differently than male CEOs?
The thing is, I think everyone has a drive for success. And I mean, I don't think they think differently. I think they may even be more competent in many other areas. I think that they may have more compassion at times, but look, I know women that they're ruthless killers, in the boardroom. So it's, at times I'd rather deal with a male than a female.
Yeah.
So
I talked about having more success with bosses.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about it's not just being an entrepreneur, but being a life and entrepreneur, combining the two.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
So it's like, I would say, life is a business essentially, and you can't sit here and rack up debt. You can't make bad relationships, because if you did that in business, what's going to happen? I mean, you're going to go bankrupt. You're probably not going to get good vendors. You're not going to be able to sell anything. So, I mean, I see life kind of like a business, and it's more like, how do you survive the business of life? So
it's funny, as you're talking, you say you see life. I see life as a cocktail party. There must be something wrong with that, but the same kind of thing. That it's based on relationships.
It really is. Yeah, it's about who you know.
People.
Yeah.
You said your favorite quote was, and I'm trying to find it here, and I wrote it down because I really loved it.
So this is from Chris Portanto.
Okay.
Right?
Is this
embrace the suck?
Yes, embrace the suck. And what does that mean?
So it's I had to use this. So it comes down to where I think a lot of military guys think this way to where it's look, sometimes life just sucks.
Yeah.
Shit happens,
Right.
and you need to pull yourself together and get it done, get the job done, because guess what? The day is gonna start again tomorrow, and you're gonna get past this, and stop focusing on what's bad and just make it happen.
Focus on what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Now, is that what you have a new book that is coming out in
I do, yes.
called Never Broken, and it's about your life story
Mm-hmm.
and what people can learn from it, and also
Yes.
it can be pre-ordered on Paul's site. So again, we're going to have a link to that site so you can pre-order it. I know I'm definitely going to get mine. What will people learn about you in this book and learn about themselves?
So I am I'm open, honest with how my life has evolved, and I go through as a child where the what I like to call instinctual entrepreneurship, where it came from, how I developed it, and how I embraced it, and why. And I kind of bring people through these life stories that not from a CEO's perspective, but from a real person. I want people to know that I may run a company, but I'm just like you. I'm just like everyone else out there. To where my dad was an alcoholic. I was abused. My life sucked, and something. You can still succeed. And the fact is, every little event in life is a success story, if you think about it. I mean, so if you don't have toys, don't bitch about it. Figure out a way to get them. If you don't have something to eat that day, don't go to bed hungry. Figure out a way to find food,
So be a strategist.
Yeah, be a strategist, an opportunist,
and don't accept what you have at that moment in time.
Never accept, what life just gives you. I mean, always look for those opportunities. Think of like, I see life like a like a little kid's blowing bubbles. You got bubbles around you. That's how I see life. It's like bubbles all around me, and I want to grab the biggest ones first. And the fact is, you're never going to run out of bubbles. And if you see life to where it's about opportunity and about continually trying to grab and fight for success, there's no way to fail.
So you're just like us, but
just
you
like
figured
you.
it out. Yeah. And just to give a sense of who you are, we do something here called a quick five.
Yeah.
So you ready to play along with
Let's
us?
do it.
Okay. All right. What's something people don't worry about but really should?
Time.
The time. That's a good one. What are you interested in that most people are not?
Martial arts, Krav Maga, combatives.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is. I saw you do in demonstration.
Yeah.
But now I'm curious.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to find out more about it.
Next show, we'll go through
Okay,
that.
next show.
Yeah.
You'll come back.
I'll
right?
come back,
Okay.
definitely.
What goal do you think humanity is not focused enough on achieving?
I think too many people just don't accept life, and they're always bitching and complaining about life.
Yeah.
And the fact is, I mean, just accept it and move on, and stop focusing on everything that's so negative.
Accept the reality.
Yeah, it is.
And
It is what it is.
strategize.
Yeah, strategize and move forward.
And find people that you enjoy being with. 'Cause
Yeah.
fun is important, and you mentioned that.
Look, life is about having fun.
I
So
think so.
business is about having even more fun.
Absolutely.
So,
That's the point.
and when you make money, you're gonna have a lot of fun,
Exactly.
right?
Money makes everything
Yeah.
fun. Okay. What life skills are rarely taught but extremely useful?
I would say stress management.
Mm-hmm.
No one understands stress management, and I would say this is where you have the premature death and bad relationships. I mean, it's about communicating, controlling stress, and more or less embracing stress. So,
Final question. Who do you wish you could get back in contact with?
oh, this is a tough one.
Is that a dangerous one?
Yeah, probably my mom.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is she no longer with us?
She's with me, but
Oh,
yeah, it's just things didn't evolve the way they should have.
Okay.
So,
Well, there's always a
yeah.
future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always a future.
Listen, I will offer, if you want to both come in and see me, if I can help in any way, I'm
This would be
offering
interesting.
that just to you because
You may never talk to me again.
No,
So.
I've never done that on the show.
Yeah, that
before, but
wow.
I'm offering a free session. Here we go.
Whoa! Get ready for
yeah.
get ready for this one.
So, Paul Szyarto, we are so thrilled you came. We want everybody to know about you and to read your book and your fascinating story. It sounds like a movie to me. Or a play.
I like the
Movie,
ideas of that. Yeah.
Right? We'll have to
So.
work on that. And thank you so much for joining us on Talking Live. We love having you, and we'll see you again next week.